Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. There's not been any shortage of bullish predictions for gold and silver for 2021. And, but some of these crazy predictions, like over $100 an ounce or $50 an ounce, are really kind of pipe dreams in my view. But I think most of us feel that silver is going to rise. And we also feel that other precious metals will rise as well. You've heard me talk about that over the course of the past year, my predictions for 2021. But some of these bigger banks as well are making some of the same predictions with a little bit more down-to-earth price levels. For instance, CIBC Bank, they think that the prices will reach $32 an ounce in 2021. Then we have Citigroup, who anticipates silver's price will reach $40 an ounce in the next 12 months. It's a little bit more of a stretch, we'll see. But Goldman Sachs takes more of a general approach that all commodities will perform well in 2021, which obviously includes silver and other metals as well. And I believe silver will rise, but it will rise following gold. Now, I tend to think that the gold to silver ratio will narrow, as is typically the case whenever there's a bull market, an extended bull market with the precious metals. That does happen. But there's been a lot of pushback on that level because silver is seen as a commodity, which is, I think, why Goldman Sachs made that call. So with that being said, even if gold rises and silver rises at the same rate and the ratio doesn't narrow, that still means that silver will go up. And I believe that at the worst case scenario, that's what will happen. And that being said, even the most conservative among us can admit that, we will see these rising prices, which is why we're seeing a growth in some of these exploration companies out there. And we're going to be talking about a company here today in this sponsored video. And some of these companies, like Silver Dollar Resources here, are newer organizations, but they have some pretty strong backing and a pretty solid funding at this point. But they're out there looking for investors. But before you do such a thing, it is always good to listen to this video and this interview closely, but then also to reach out and do your due diligence and your own research and ask questions. There's going to be information available, and we'll ask about where you can find more of that information. You can contact anyone there at the company, and but in understanding that there's always a risk in this type of thing, but this just covers another element of how you can invest in precious metals. That's right, I use the word invest because most of you know that when I talk about precious metals, usually talk about holding the physical, and I don't see that as an investment. That's a hedge. But there is ways to invest in mining stocks and maybe even junior miners where there's a little bit more risk. And so you have to weigh that risk. And this is what this video covers, is another way to be able to make money on precious metals potentially. But that does come with that risk. So without further ado, we'll get to our interview. And we have Michael Romanek with us here today from Silver Dollar Resources. And this is a silver company, mining exploration company here. And a silver that has had a great 2020 in terms of its price performance. On the paper markets, it's rallied over 100%, as we've talked about in the past year since March. And it's had its best month ever. It got almost to $30 an ounce. The dollar's been very weak in recent months, and industrial demand from recovery looks solid. So, Michael, why is silver a unique commodity, and what makes it in such high demand?
Well, as you mentioned the weak U.S. dollar. I think today it hit a 2.5-year low. With the coronavirus wreaking havoc around the world, the governments are spending tons of money on stimulus and supporting the economy. You got deficits out of control. So it's obviously fundamentally it should be a perfect environment for precious metals to do well in. And regarding the industrial applications, the world transitions from fossil fuels to electric vehicles and green energy. That's going to also should be bullish for the price of silver.
Right. Certainly it should be the case. I think no matter what happens, and I've talked about this too on my channel, is that it does appear that even if we have an economic downturn or an economic recovery, silver, I think, is going to do well in 2021. And, we talk about, paper silver and ETFs and the like. Well, we see a price performance there, but there's been increased demand for the physical, and that's where your company comes into play, Silver Dollar Resources. Can you tell us a little bit about that and your two top shareholders?
Yep, Silver Dollar, we went public in May of this year. We're listed in Canada under the ticker SLV, and in the US, ticker SLVDF. 60 million market cap, 10 million in cash, 36 million shares out, tightly held with the insiders owning 40% of the stock. Eric Sprott, well-known precious metal investor, shareholder, obviously happy to have him involved. And First Majestic Silver is our second largest shareholder, and they own about 16%. And we have optioned the La Jolla silver deposit from First Majestic, which is located in Mexico. And we also have two early stage gold exploration projects in Red Lake.
Very good. So can you tell us a little bit about La Jolla, about that site in particular? I understand you're going to start drilling in this coming year there.
What's nice about La Jolla, for a company like Silver Dollar just getting going, it already has a historic result. 92 million ounces of silver equivalent. So we got a from Silvercrest worked this project in 2015, and then they were taken out by First Majestic. So this La Jolla project has been sitting on the books and on the back at First Majestic since 2015. So it's an advanced project. We brought in Tetra Tech, geological outfit who for Silvercrest in that time, and we're gonna hit the ground running with those guys. And we have upgraded the geological model, and we're gonna have news out here early in the new year about this new model as well as our exploration targets.
And your other properties are in Canada, and so what are your plans for those?
Yeah, our other two gold projects in Red Lake. Used to be looking for gold. There's a lot of activity up there. You had Evolution come in and buy out Newmont. Pure Gold put out news today that they're gold, and they're $1 billion market cap. So there's a lot of action going around there. And we put out news in early October that we may look at spinning out the Red Lake projects to the shareholders and kind of separate the two. Silver side with Silver Dollar and a new separate vehicle to tackle the early stage gold targets.
So what are the company's most important milestones to achieve in the next 12 months, and which of these is a significant one or priority?
Well, we're going to have an update. Tetra Tech's done a lot of work. They've compiled all the data into one cohesive set that we're going to base off our exploration program for. We used all the geochemical, geophysical data that was out there in our exploration program. So that's going to be coming out here shortly. We're updated 4310 technical report, and once that's published, we'll ask to look at doing a spin out of the Red Lake projects, looking at moving to the more senior exchanges in Canada and the United States, and ultimately where we're going to get the real growth drivers is going to be when we start drilling La Jolla, and hopefully at the first quarter of 21 we'll have the drills turning.
Right, very good. Sounds exciting. And that's primary silver mining for La Jolla, correct?
Yeah, there's silver, there's gold, and a lot also copper with it.
Okay, great, great. And so how does your valuation compare with peer group companies?
Well, I think our valuation has to put us at the lower end compared to. I think once we get going on exploration at La Jolla, it's going to give us a re-rating as we upgrade and expand the historic resource. And in comparison to the other companies out there, I think we have a first-class technical group of people with Perry Durning, Bud Hellmeyer, and Bear. We have a real tight share structure, strong insider ownership, and obviously the backing of Eric Sprott, First Majestic. We're fully funded and with $10 million in cash.
Right. That sounds exciting. Yeah. And you've talked a little bit about here, you've covered over some of your key management team players that you just mentioned there. And anything else you want to say about them that makes that company, apart from other organizations?
Absolutely. Well, Perry Durning and Bud Hellmeyer, those guys, geologists, in 2010, I think it was, they won the PDAC award for grassroots major discoveries in Mexico. And, anybody can go out, geologist or exploration team, and get lucky and find an ore deposit. But these guys, Perry and Bud, they found at least 4 major discoveries from grassroots starting. So there's no way that's luck. There's something special going on with those two guys. And, the Silver Dollar shareholders are just lucky to have those two guys involved with the company. And for sure, they've forgotten more about exploration than I'm ever know in this business. So just tremendous to have those two guys attach their name to this company.
Surrounding yourself with good folks is very important for sure. And but since you just recently went public, and with everything going on here, some people may be concerned about making an investment like this. And I always tell people I like to be transparent whenever I do interviews and features like this. If you want to advance towards this preliminary economic assessment, and so if people want to get more information and ask any questions, where can they go to be able to ask you more information and do research on your company?
Well, the best bet is to probably go to our web at www.silverdollarresort.com, and on that main landing page, you can find a button for our corporate presentation. Give you a good handle on and a good summary of what we're all about and accomplish here as we go forward.
And that's silverdollarresources.com, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. And Michael Romanek, I want to thank you so much for taking the time for this interview and sharing a little bit about what's going on in the world of silver mining and your company, Silver Dollar Resources. And I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to everyone else for taking the time to watch this video, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.